Sean Payton met with the media after today's practice, and despite the fact that there wasn't a preseason game and this was the first padded practice, Sean Payton said overall it was a good day.
Look, it was an hour and a half. I thought we got a lot done in a short period of time. Overall, I'm pleased with the conditioning level of these guys for the most part. And we'll look at the film and seems like we've been going here for a while. Today obviously changed with the pads, and from a period standpoint, we worked on a few different things, but overall I was pleased.
So Sean Payton, never really too descriptive in these moments, but pleased. And when he is upset, he'll tell you he's upset. So first day in pads, pleased. The biggest question as far as impact on the roster as they move through toward week one is going to be, what do you do with Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz? One of those guys is going to be your starting center. One is going to be your starting right guard. That much we know, but how do you make sense of that here with Sean Payton?
Yeah, look, we're evaluating both of them. They're both, getting plenty of work. McCoy's getting work at center, Ruiz at right guard, and then, probably every second or third day, we'll evaluate flipping them around. So we're rotating those guys along with Nick Easton inside. We feel like, obviously all those reps are important, and I think overall, he's a pretty quick study.
Reps are critical, especially without preseason games, because you're not going to get those live game reps, so you have to maximize what you have in practice. And I'm reading tea leaves here, but the fact that Sean Payton there said we'll rotate him every 2 or 3 days tells you effectively that they think that Eric McCoy is going to get about 2/3 of the reps at center, which lets you know where they're leaning. Because if, in fact, you are going to put Cesar Ruiz as your starting center game one, then you need to maximize every single rep between now and game one so he can get the calls, so he can get the shotgun snap, so he can get Drew Brees' cadence. All of those things that a center and quarterback battery rely on for their comfort level, that's what you have to maximize now. Well, if you're not taking advantage of that right now for Ruiz, then that's your answer. Like, Eric McCoy's going to be the guy at center to start the season, and Ruiz is going to be guard. And you may go, well, of course it was going to happen. But I don't think it was always that cut and dried, especially had they been able to have a legit full training camp and preseason. I think it's more likely that where the inevitability is that Eric McCoy is going to move to guard and Ruiz is going to be your starting center. Maybe not this year, but inevitably in this organization, that's where it's going to end. The other thing that was really interesting to me with our conversation with Sean Fazan was when he talked about tight end. And actually, Sean Payton got asked this question. I asked about an undrafted free agent, and the names that a lot of people probably are going to want to hear, like Joe Bocci or Marquez Callaway. I mean, there's some names out there that people are going to be interested in, but the one that Sean Fazan mentioned today is a guy that Sean Payton got asked about as well, and that's Juwan Johnson. This is 6, Brandy, if you could. And he asked if Juwan Johnson, who's a big wide receiver, could move to tight end, especially considering you had 2 tight ends opt out because of COVID.
There are a few things that we saw. We saw a guy that we think moves and carries his pads well. He's a guy we think can help in the kicking game. And, if he's struggling out there at receiver, it's something that we've discussed that, I think he has that frame where he could come inside, but we like what we've seen so far with him outside.
If your odds of making the team are better at tight end and special teams, then you move there, and that's probably going to be what Tommy Stevens has to do as well. And when I asked Sean earlier about tight end, it wasn't the undrafted guys. It wasn't even Adam Troutman that he mentioned. It was Stevens.
Yeah, look, he's working at the Y position. We're playing him some at the F position. He's athletic. He's young. He's got a lot to learn, but he's putting forth the energy and the study time to do it.
Sean Payton talking about Tommy Stevens, who I still think is a long shot. He's a long shot to make the 53. And it's hard to imagine him making the 53. And, of course, if you sign to the practice squad, then there's always the opportunity that Carolina could sign him away. But I don't know how you certainly aren't making room for him as a quarterback on this team. But if you can make it as a special teamer / tight end, that would be an intriguing proposition if it could play out. But we got a long way to go. Now, Sean Payton was also asked about Jameis Winston. This was the obligatory. It's number 11, Brandon. This was the obligatory Jameis Winston question for the day.
Look, he's doing well. I've been pleased. He's in great shape. He's got a real live arm. Man, I love his attitude, his work ethic. He's doing very well.
Sean Payton likes Jameis, likes his attitude, doing well. Drew Brees in his media availability was also asked about how Jameis Winston is doing.
I've been impressed with Jameis. He loves football. He loves the game. He loves to compete. Great personality. Very likable guy. Wants to learn. So, man, all those things are the first components that you kind of see and recognize. Obviously, we're just getting into pads, and so we're just getting into, real life situations, that we're trying to create, in practice. And so, the reps have been somewhat limited for all of us up to this point. But as that ramps up, I really like our quarterback room. Me, Taysom, and Jameis. I think that's, we all work well together.
Tamus, print the shirts. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.